What is good, y'all? Welcome to Let's Cap. I'm your host, Ronald from Wagertalk.com at Youcapper Sports on Twitter. We got Chris B. Cappin and Austin Wang, _HTX with me today. Man, yesterday, guys, I think we all did pretty well on that Warriors game there. But real quick before, I know we don't have a lot of time with Austin, but I know he has a lot of great angles in today's game. So just real quick, talk about what happened yesterday with you guys and what's been going on with the NBA playoffs. Austin, let's start with you first.
Yeah, yesterday I feel very fortunate and blessed to be able to walk away with a win. I wrote that off, and I was just sitting there. I was capping today's game, and I had the game on in the background, and I was just like hate watching it, just like, oh yeah, it's gonna go over any second now, and I'm just gonna hate my life. And yeah, man, just like they had Tristan Thompson and all the scrubs in, and they just brick after brick. Even Thompson missed 2 free throws that would have put it over as well. And man, very fortunate to get that by the hook.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awesome. The playoffs have been going really well. I mean, I think the angles, just sort of your general zigzag bounce back angles, have been true to form, and so we've been capitalizing on a lot of that, and it's been really successful.
Yeah, Chris, how about you? How'd yesterday go?
Yeah, same. I'll start with the blessed and fortunate part. Like Austin mentioned, 227.5, and we got 227, man. So I'll take it. It was enough to push me to a 4-2 day. Yesterday, I think on your show, I gave out the first quarter, which Golden State didn't cover. It took them a while to kind of get started. LeBron came out on fire. But they did cover the first half. And then I also gave out AD to go under 42.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Never a sweat there. But it wasn't Wiggins, who I told you I liked this over 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It was actually Clay again, who went bananas again in that game. So Wiggins didn't hit in the first quarter, didn't hit, but the other 4 plays did cash. And then I also had the 2 home favorites parlayed together at a -125. The Celtics to bounce back and the Warriors to bounce back, not to go down 0-2. So that was also a big cash for me as well. So it's looking kind of keep it moving forward, I see.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of things yesterday that cash really. I mean, I gave out the Warriors, and I gave out that first quarter under. But personally, we all talked about the trifecta on the Warriors side, and then also the trifecta team total under on the Lakers side. So the only one that didn't hit on that trifecta was the first quarter. That was the one that kind of just messed up everything. But other than that, everything went to plan. But we can go today's games, and we'll talk about those what we see here today. But let's go with the Celtics and the Sixers first here. I'll bring up my screen, Austin, and then go ahead and talk about what angles you see.
Well, I think for this one, I was looking at, and Chris also mentioned this before we started the show, is that I was looking at when a team blows out their opponent. And
is this one right, Austin?
Yep, exactly. So over here, this one in particular states that, if you won your previous game by 20 or more points, you're a road favorite in a particular playoff series, and they've gone 31-12 against the spread since the 2012 and 2013 season. So just one of those things where sometimes you would expect some sort of zigzag bounce back angle, but in this case, a road favorite, it's telling. Going on the road, the Sixers are in a desperation spot, yet they're still underdogs. And after a team has dominated them in the previous game, they have all the momentum in the world, and so they've been covering at an extremely high rate.
I like it.
Yeah, and also just on top of that, I think game 1, the Sixers came out, caught the Celtics off guard. Harden had an anomaly of a game, and when game 2 Embiid came back, Harden went back to deferring to him, and just that was sort of what you see from playoff Harden. He's kind of shies away from the big moments. That was his knock when he was a Houston Rocket, especially when the going gets tough. Embiid, we kind of anticipated that was going to happen. A superstar returning from an absence where they won. Usually in that spot, you've seen those teams struggle to integrate that superstar back into the lineup. Mm-hmm. And finally, the Celtics were also in a zigzag spot as well.
And that's crazy. I filtered it more to just series game 3 only, and the percentage gets like even better. It's hella crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. Chris, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, alignment with Austin here, man. I think one of the things we talked about this right before the show, a very similar angle. I didn't look at round not equaling previous, round being the same, but what we had talked about yesterday, I see just the home favorite going down 1-0 and then bouncing back in game 2. And we always talk about zigzag, but like Austin said, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen every single time. So what I looked at was teams coming off a win and then a win of 25 points or more. So if you wanted to, I think, but it's also what we had up there as well yesterday. I see we had playoffs equal 1, and then previous home loss as a favorite, and then previous home loss as a favorite because that's game 1.
Yeah.
But also previous home win, and now they're road favorites.
Oh, that's what I just had. Okay. Yeah, 6-1, 5-1.
And if you take it down to 20, you can move it up to 30. Those teams just do well. I think the numbers show to the strength. I see that when you lose home court advantage, you kind of want to get it back, right? You want to go in and kind of take that next game as well. So that's another angle. As far as these are historical trends, as far as just these two teams in general, my thoughts on the game is that the Celtics are 4-1 straight up in the games versus Philly this season when Embiid plays, and we do anticipate him to play today. They're also 5-0 against the spread in those games as well. And the only game that the Celtics won, we talked about this yesterday, RC. The only game that the Philadelphia 76ers won was the game on April 4th, and that was the game that Embiid was trying to campaign for the MVP. He had 52 points. And the Celtics were without Robert Williams. They were also without Jaylen Brown because they didn't really have anything to play for. Still played them very competitive in that game. And I just feel like he's still not 100%, and he's going to play. And we talked about it yesterday also. Last thing I'll mention is that the Celtics kind of match up better with the Sixers actually match up better with the Celtics when Embiid doesn't play. Not to say that he's not, a great player and deserving of the MVP, but it just feels like the style, matches up a little bit better because he slows down the pace so much for them.
Yeah, we talked about that too. Like they just, it's not like Philly's better without him. It's just the matchup. The Boston Celtics just match up better with him. Pat, I know you just hopped in a little bit late. You dropped this query here, and I drilled down to a little bit just to look at the playoffs specifically, and it points towards. So let's just go back to the original query that you sent. So this is since 2020 conference games, favorite of 6 or more, coming off of a win of 33 points or more. That is 24, 6-1 to the under, and also points towards the Sixers covering the spread. But if you dive deeper into it, right, I put that into the playoffs, and then I just said, what was it, 20 points, I think? 25, something like that. So I drilled into it and said playoffs and then 25, off a 25-point win. The same factors here, but now it kind of goes towards the Celtics sides in the playoffs, but it still points towards the under. So everything really is aligning towards two ways here, the Celtics and the under. Did you see anything else? As far as
I'm kind of in alignment with you guys. I do think that I think the game goes under, but looking at it from a side, I mean, there's arguments to be made for both sides, really, in my opinion.
Of course,
I was leaning the Celtics last night, but when you look at how Philly has done at home in revenge games, they do respond very well. There's a couple of trends, and you can make arguments for both sides. What I don't like for Philly is that while they're good in revenge games, they're also just 1-9 against the spread against the Celtics in the playoffs. When Joel Embiid plays, when he sits, it's like a different team dynamic. I think for Philly, I think they will respond eventually, maybe game 4, but I don't know that this is it. Another supporting trend for the Celtics is there's a momentum theory that I have for them, and it puts them in a let me pull it up really quick. It's a 22-3 ATS spot. And what it is the Celtics are 22-3 against the spread when they're facing a team that that averages more points in the paint than them when they're off a home game where they recorded at least 120 points. So this applies here. So with these teams that score more points in the paint, they're just out shooting them, out hustling them. And we see that a lot with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I think that they have Embiid figured out. There's just too much movement for him. And if Embiid is getting his, they're okay with that as long as they get the win. So I don't know. I like what I would lean here is probably the Sixers team total under,
Yeah, that
and
makes
full
sense.
game under for me. But as far as a side, I'll lean the Celtics, but not with like a ton of confidence after kind of digging deeper. Again, I don't expect this to be a 5-game series. So if you're telling me that Embiid's going to lose, the next 3 and finish the series, 1-12 ATS in the postseason versus Boston, I probably won't believe it. So
Yeah.
um,
To me, all right. So I was on the same boat, Pat. Like before the show, I was talking to Chris. I was like, I would lean towards the Sixers, but I don't think I would get there. And everything that Austin and Chris was saying, like as far as some of the queries and trends and stuff like that, really is pretty strong towards the Celtics side. But like I said, like I was with you. Yeah, a lot of things we're saying, conflicting things for the most part. But it just seems like Celtics got their number, man, with Embiid on the court. I think it's just a whole matchup thing.
100%.
I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna play that, but we did take the
There's
under.
got to be
I already took the
somebody.
full game under, so
Yeah, there just
I
has to
don't
be
know.
somebody else that steps up for
Yeah,
Boston. I mean, I'm sorry, for Philly. It
yeah.
can't just be Embiid. It's just right now the offense is too predictable. For me, I would probably look to get Tobias Harris more involved, to be honest. But yeah, I just think that when you're playing with a predictable offense and you're allowing Embiid to get all these points and you're expecting it, you're okay as long as you get the win. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay off the game from a side, but give
I
me the
wonder
under.
how much. I wonder how much they're gonna adjust after that game, like as far as who they're gonna have, what type of lineups they're gonna have on the court. But let's move on to the second game here. We got the Nuggets and the Suns. This one, we ended up taking the under yesterday too, Chris. On this one, 224. I think 224 and a half is what we got it at. I can't remember exactly.
225.
225. Yeah, we got it at 225 yesterday. Has come down a little bit, just a half point, but that would be the way that I go here. A couple of things that I talked about on the triple double show was just how the Nuggets struggle going from home to road. I think it was home to road. Let's just look at that. While I bring up some stuff, anyone have a good breakdown on this one right off the bat?
I'm gonna send you a query right now, RC, that
Uh,
actually applies to the playoff under that you're looking at. So I'm gonna drop that in the private chat really quick. I lean the under in this spot, but I was leaning the under with the assumption that Chris Paul would man up and play. And this was days ago that I was looking at the 225. It's down to 224. I think it's become the line's a little bit more accurate at this point. Just because Cam Payne is not a guy who's going to play a half court set. He's going to look to get into transition, get the offense flowing. And I think in order to beat Denver, you can't make it a half court game. I think you're going to have to run them out the gym. So I'm starting to lean more towards the fact that the total is accurate, but I would still lean the under, if that makes any sense. I just wish Chris Paul was out there playing, because he does a really good job of keeping the offensive composure on both sides of the court. So we're missing that key piece, but I still would lean.
I think the part about CP, typically we look at the over when CP is not playing right, but I think Campaign's just, I don't think he's 100% healthy, so we're not going to see that fast-paced, reckless type play that we normally see from him. In my opinion, I think so. Also, I think they're going to need to focus in on the defensive side of the ball a lot more than anything, because the Nuggets have been able to get whatever they want from the offensive side of the ball. So so I'm looking at your trend here. So it says playoffs greater than round one. So round two or greater. Favorites coming off of a loss where they attempted more field goals than the other opponent, than their opposing opponent. So to me, that says, they're doing a good job at getting offensive rebounds or getting their turnovers. So that makes sense to me. And this also points towards the Sun side as well. And you can see that cluster of wins or covers there on the Sun side as well. I look towards that way as well, as far as who I think is going to win or cover. But Austin, do you have anything on this one?
Not quite. I'm actually looking up some player props now on how Devin Booker performs with Chris Paul out, and I'm anticipating a higher number of assists because you're right. With campaign with Chris Paul out, you would think campaign would get the beneficiary of the minutes, but he's still hurt. So I see Booker being the primary ball handler tonight. So I want to look at his assist line and see how and look towards that angle. As far as the game goes, I think 0-2, returning back home. Motivational, like first half angle. Denver, the Nuggets aren't as good on the road as they are at home. I like the Suns first half. Keep it simple right there.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Come out with a sense of urgency, down 2-0, down 0-2. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, so I see. If you bring back up what we had yesterday, we had PO equals 1 and away dog series wins equals 2. And series game equals 3. And we just look at these road dogs that are up 2-1. They don't typically perform that well. So if you're fading them, that's 70% on the money line, and there's also a high percentage on the ATS as well. But I see. Remember, we added something. We added number one seed.
Series.
No, we added seed. We added seed equals 1. Seed. Right. So if you look at the one seeds, it's even worse.
The cluster of unders point to the under too, like in more recent games.
So if you add the 1 seed, it only gets stronger for fading these these teams.
It's crazy. 4 and 20, 5, 17 and 2. That points towards the Suns here. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah, they got to do something to adjust, to be like some type of offensive pressure, right? And T. Ross and TJ Warren can do that. They're able to shoot the 3-ball pretty consistently, in my opinion. So they will have to make some type of adjustments. I don't know what they will be adjusting, but hopefully it's on the offensive side of the ball. The other thing too is the Nuggets, the other way, if you want to pivot off of something, I feel like the Nuggets team total under is another way to go as well. Anything else on this one, guys? We took the under already. I can look towards I think the Suns is the right way to go. I think that the Nuggets team total under is also the other way to go in this one. Do you guys have anything from a prop perspective?
I don't really cover props too much, but yeah, I would kind of lean that way as well. Also, I wanted to throw out this little trend. Game 3 home favorites that are winless in the series, they're 28-13 against the spread in round 2 or later of the postseason. So that trend also kind of favors Phoenix to get it done. I just think that they got to respond. What I don't like in the first 2 games is that they play way too predictable. And again, similar to like the Sixers and Celtics series, as long as you get the win, you're okay with D-Book and KD going off for 40+. It doesn't matter at the end of the day if you're getting the win. So I think that there has to be like an X factor for the Suns. You can't play predictable. I want to see them get like T. Ross out there, or I don't know. There just has to be a bench player to step up, and you just can't play predictive ball, in my opinion. So I don't know. I want to see Phoenix adjust. I do think that they cover the spread and win, but. Yeah, I would lean more towards the under being the more valuable side, I guess, in my opinion. But yeah, 0 props for me. I'm horrible at props.
I gotcha. Anything else on this game? I know, Austin, you got to leave in a few minutes here, but pretty quick show because we touched on a lot of stuff yesterday with these 2 games already, Chris. But we can also touch on baseball if we want to, or I know YBB, we're not able to do Cap the Cage later, but if you want to drop some UFC and stuff as well, we can do that too.
Bilal Muhammad.
In this game,
that's the fun.
Before we finish up, I played Jamal Murray under his 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It was minus 125 on Caesars. I just go back to the previous round. And I know he gets a good matchup with campaign. Hopefully he put Devin Booker on him because
he's a PRA.
His PRA under 35.5. I just go back to last series. He's been like the Anthony Davis for this team, right? He's the one that doesn't perform as well on the road.
So inconsistent.
Yeah, just inconsistent, man. He's averaging just 18.5 points, 13.5 rebounds and assists so far. So that's 31 points plus rebounds plus assists in the road games. And he's shooting just 40%. So his field goal percentage goes down. He's shooting only 23% from the free throw line. and he's getting to the free throw line less than 3 times per game as well. So I just look for Jamal Murray to, have another stinker today. And I think Jokic is the guy that, probably continues to go off, because I don't know what they're going to do to, his will is unlike AD's. He really wants to try to kill you every single time he's out there. So I also lean towards him over his 39.5 points plus rebounds. Dude's a magnet just grabbing rebounds, and I don't think that they'll be able to stop him from, getting the tip-ins and running the offense through him. His field goal attempts in this series specifically are extremely high, way higher than we've seen him throughout the regular season and even through the first round.
I like it. I mean, if we're looking towards the Nuggets to go under their team total, he's definitely going to be one of the guys that go under, because I think he's mostly going to be the guy that they're probably going to focus in on Jokic, right, in some way. If he's not making his shots, his 3-point shots or anything like that, he's not going to get enough rebounds to get over this PRA or anything. So it makes sense to me. All right. Any last comments before we go to baseball? Austin, do you have anything in baseball?
No baseball today.
No baseball today. I got one real quick, and then we'll go to where the fuck is baseball at? Oh, I got this one here: the Nationals and the D-backs. I got the Nationals on the run line here. Real quick too. One of the where the fuck is it? Hold on. Where's my model thing? Oh, okay. So I think I showed some of this model stuff yesterday, but based on like regression, what I think regression is going to be, I brought up some pitching stats and some batting stats, and I gave them a score, created like a regression model here, and been tracking it since the beginning of the month, and things have been going pretty well. So one of the plays I really keyed in on was the Nationals. They're down here. They have a score here of 6, primarily on the bat side. And this 4 here tells me that there's going to be a lot of positive regression coming from their bats. Like they're getting a lot of contact, they're getting a lot of power, but they're not actually turning them into hits and runs. So that's what I mean by positive regression. I think at some point they're going to get more lucky, and the balls are going to land in places where they're going to be able to get with base hits and more runs and even more home runs to be more precise. So those are the things that I was looking at, but I looked at that, and as far as like Josiah Gray, his pitching numbers have been pretty consistent throughout this season, and he's been a lot better than he was last season as well. On the other side, we got Merrill Kelly, who's been he's been good this season too, but his FIP and all that stuff is a lot more higher than his ERA. So that's kind of telling me that we're going to see some negative regression, and also the fact that his home runs per fly ball is also at a lot lower than it was in the past few years. I think it's like half of what it was last season. So I'm expecting more home runs to be given up. So just a combination of two things where I see a starting pitcher with negative regression, and the bats on one team have a lot of positive regression. The going in the opposite directions, that's where I kind of take that number. And we see them at like a plus like 180 right now. And I think I got it at minus 130 on the run line yesterday. I do think that there's a chance that they get the win outright. Just sort of like, yesterday I gave out the Braves. They were dogs, and they won outright by like 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the way that I'm going today in baseball. I already forgot the dang link. Mitch, can you drop, since you're in there, can you drop Matt Porter's link, please, if you can? Shoot, never mind. I can't even copy and paste it.
All that stuff you just discussed, Ronald. I mean, would that make a case for an over here for?
Also a case for the over. Yep. Yeah. Because we know Arizona's bats have been pretty good. They have a 0 here, saying that they're playing well beyond. Their bats are going beyond what they should be, right? So we probably see some negative regression, but at the same time, it doesn't happen like instantly, right? So it probably not a dramatic decline, just a slow decline. That means that they should be able to get some runs here, but for the most part, I could see the team total on the Washington side get it done. You can see the bats with a 4 in more recent in this month, 12-4 to the team total over for those guys that with a bat of 4. And you can see there's Milwaukee, there's Washington, we got the Mets here, and Boston as well. So
As
looking
you're going
to
through it, like the premise of this game and the starters kind of fits the contrarian over system, right? So like
Yeah.
the Nationals and the Diamondbacks, both those pitchers have been playing well. I'm looking at their ERAs and they both fit the threshold. So I'm wondering why it didn't pop up in active in my system. But looking at their ERAs, just listening to you describe, break down the game and looking at the high total.
Yeah.
Seems like it would fit this contrarian overs with some negative regression on the pitchers and some positive regression on the Nationals batting there. So that's something for me to look at. I'm wondering why it's not popping up in my queries in my system. So I think that's one way I'll potentially look since you brought that up.
Yeah. And shout out to Matt Porter. I don't know if he's watching. I forgot his Twitter account too, but he put together this spreadsheet here that brings up every matchup on the day, and it brings up, I think it's both from Fangraphs and Baseball Savant. And for those who are here, I'm just gonna. He said we were able to share it, so I'm gonna share it here in the chat. Beer Bets Porter right there. Mitch shared his Twitter account, so if you guys want to follow him, definitely do that. And that's the link to this page here. So it comes up with the matchups for the day, comes up with all the stats from a pitcher and bat perspective, and it's super helpful because you see everything pretty much in just one page. I know he's doing a lot more work to clean it up a little bit, so we'll see what he ends up with. This is sort of like a beta. You can see a beta version here, but a lot of great information there, so you guys can use that link and make sure you guys follow Beer Bets Porter and give him a shout out for providing you that information. But that's my best my baseball play that I want to drop there. And I know YBB. I know we have UFC to this Saturday. I know you want to drop something for the viewers here. Go ahead, talk about it.
I got you, man. Yeah, this UFC card's fun. This is like really exciting matchups coming up this weekend. Again, UFC is more so like it's a genuine sport for me to like watch, bet on. It's just, I don't know. I prefer it compared to like baseball and basketball and all that stuff. But my favorite spot this weekend is going to be Bilal Muhammad to win. And I know that's going to he's an underdog. I just think that he should be the favorite. It's a 5-round fight. Gilbert Burns just came off of a training camp. So, his readiness, I guess, is probably going to plummet after you have that fight. And he goes all 3 rounds with Jorge Masvidal just a couple weeks ago. Bilal Muhammad, I mean, he's had time to rest. And he's always been game and underestimated by the bookmakers because he's not a specialist at one thing. He's just great at everything. So I'm going to go with Bilal Muhammad to get it done. And I just think that he should be the favorite. So yeah, that's gonna be my favorite bet this weekend. And
Does it? Yeah, Bilal Muhammad.
I got a couple others, but
no, I agree with that play a lot actually. I was watching some clips of him and his training camp. Definitely something that I was kind of looking towards. I haven't bet it yet, but definitely agree. I do real quick, Austin. Right before you go here, just drop your top looks because it's pretty much the end of the show here. We were able to touch on a few things. So go ahead and talk about your top plays, and then we'll drop off.
Yeah, I'm rocking with the Celtics. The trend that I shared earlier, the system that I shared earlier. I think the momentum continues, and I think the Celtics take it as a short road favorites in Philadelphia and make it 2-1. I also like the under. I'm going to have a bigger play on the Celtics and just a regular play on the under there at 214.5.
Love it. All right. Let's go, guys.
Austin, real quick. Did you play? Are you gonna play Phoenix first half?
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I think I'm gonna get there with Phoenix first half.
Phoenix first half. All right, cool. I appreciate you, Austin. Thanks for dropping in again.
Good luck, guys.
Later, man.
All right, let's go to Pat. What do you want to drop for the viewers here as far as best bets?
My best bet today. I'm probably gonna go with the Sixers team total under as my favorite look of the day. But that's for NBA. For MLB, I really like the Dodgers and Padres to stay under the total. I didn't really get into the breakdown of that, but Clayton Kershaw, we have Yu Darvish on the mound as well.
Yeah.
And I just have a system on Yu Darvish where, after he comes off of a win where he allowed at least 5 hits and he's coming off of the Mexico City International game with a less in total than his previous game, which we know those totals were like 19, 20.
They were hella high. Yeah.
He's gone 13-0 to the under in those starts. So I like the under more so as my favorite look. It's an MLB look, but as far as basketball, I'll probably gotta go with Sixers team total under.
I like it. And then UFC, your best bet was the Bilal Muhammad.
Bilal Muhammad. I have hot takes like a month on this card, but
Did you take Frivola?
Yeah, I think Frivola is gonna stop Drew Dober, man. Another hot take. I mean,
are you doing KO or are you doing a decision?
I'm doing round 3 KO. It's plus 1800.
God damn. All right.
Yeah, I have to, man.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. You squeeze out the value in MMA like that. Like, I don't know. I see it playing out a little bit differently than a lot of people.
I like it. All right, Chris, what do you got to drop for the viewers here?
Yeah, so we all in unison. I'm on Boston as well. I took a -2. I didn't. I just laid the extra point. Took a -2. Also played the under 215. And then I haven't played. Oh, I did play officially what we talked about yesterday. I played the under 225 in the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. I think just going back and looking at all those numbers again, I think I also want to get there with the first half under as well. We saw that those road teams in Game 3, they're averaging like 21 points in the first quarter.
The Nuggets first half team total under, I think was the look they were looking at. Man, I gotta add that. Nuggets. Yeah,
I think I'm gonna add that as well. And I really want to get there with Phoenix. It may just be a live number. I feel like, if you like them, you definitely got to play them early. I'm off for first quarters. I lost another one yesterday, but first half does seem like the play, and I may tell Austin on that one as well. And then the player prop, I talked about Jamal Murray going under his 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I just think that's the defensive intensity that we see from the Phoenix Suns today, with their backs against the wall. So probably my favorite player prop on the card for one of my favorite player props on the card for today.
I like it. All right, so for me, we took the both the unders on both games there. I also like the Suns. I might get there with you guys on the Celtics there. I was kind of going back and forth with it, but I think you guys kind of pushed me in that direction. And then for baseball, like I said, the Nationals on the run line there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and tell YBB on Bilal, and also I'm probably gonna take Matt Frivola as well. So that is it for the best bets. I know Chris got his spaces in a couple hours. Pat, are you doing any shows yet?
Mostly just joining them whenever I see a StreamYard account. I did a UFC breakdown for the Discord last night.
Yeah.
But it's not like a professional setup or anything. I just quickly run through the entire card, give my hot takes, my favorite bets and stuff like that. But nothing like official. I'm not really good at content creating. I'm better at like just being a co-host, man. So I've accepted my position as that and make, little videos for the people behind the Discord. So
yeah, no,
that's so not true, RC. This dude is definitely a content creator. Don't let him fool you.
Yeah, one of the more funnier Twitter accounts that I follow. So a lot of things that you do is pretty good. Yeah, as far as that goes, that is the end of the show, guys. We dropped a lot of plays there. NBA, MLB, and UFC. With that said, whether you fade us or follow us, guys, make sure you what did I already forgot to close the show off, Chris. Whether you fade us or follow us, it's on you to make that call. Good luck with all your action. Until next time, peace.